What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be diving in, taking a look at the different characters that are available to select with your red stones here. So they have actually done something a little bit different with the red stones this time around, which is actually very good. They made a very good change here. So they have kind of vastly expanded the list of characters that's going to be available. So this is going to be a little bit interesting. This will be the first time that I'm making one of these videos after the inception of the Super Easy A. And there are, that is going to be a main topic of discussion throughout this video is units that will be slated to get their Super Easy A's. We're going to be doing a lot of kind of predicting toward the future. So, they basically have got it set up the same way that they have been setting up the purple stone shops during the anniversary celebrations, where they'll offer 3 of the stones total, and then there will be 3 different sections of the shop. One section that is requiring you to only spend 1 stone to earn each of the characters, one section that's requiring you to spend 2 of your stones for a pack of characters, and then last but not least, spending all 3 stones on 1 pack of characters. So we're just going to go ahead and look through all of the stuff that it offers, and I will let you guys know what I think is worth it or not. But you are going to have to strap in. This is going to be a long one. You can already see how many tabs I have open at the top here. This is more or less every single Dokkan Fest unit available with these red stones that hasn't Super Easy 8 yet. And it also includes the ones that have Super Easy 8 already, because those obviously would be good units to pick up as well. So we're going to be going over a lot of information here. They don't have all of the packs that are available on this wiki, so really quick we're going to switch to in-game just so that we can take a look at every single pack back to back, and right off the gates, as we do this, I am going to be vetoing a bunch of them, and then we won't talk about them any further because a lot of these are just completely not worth it, and so that's what I'll let you know. So this is where we've got in the shop here. They decided to do something interesting. So for the ones where you have to spend 3 stones, regardless of if you're getting 3 characters or not, they still want to make sure you're getting the equivalent. So if you're only getting 1 character, because you're spending the 3 stones, they're going to give you 2 Kais in addition instead. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on there. Now, they've had a lot of these packs just have banner units in them. Now, you'll notice that everything's already Dokkan Awakened for you, which is nice. Kind of would have been cool if they were SA10 too, but oh well. So yeah, obviously you're not going to want to select any of the banner units. So as we scroll through this, you'll see that quite a few of these, units are just banner units, and these packs will be perfectly skippable. So the first 3 we skip. We do have a Dokkan Fest unit here in the Android 13, and then another Dokkan Fest here in the Jiren, but everything else here is all going to be these, just banner units. We've got another Dokkan Fest here with the Goku Black. Okay, more banner units. These are all skips. And then 2 more Dokkan Fests with the Gohan and the Trunks here. Some more banner units, and then another Dokkan Fest with the Zamasu. And then I think it's just... Yeah, so now we're out of the 3s and into the 2s. So as far as the 3-stone packs are concerned, and by the way, I didn't show it, but I already double-checked myself. All of these packs come with 1 unit and 2 Elder Kais. Every single one of these 3-stone packs. So you don't have to worry about other units lingering around in there. But yeah, I would say none of these Dokkan Fests are good enough to warrant spending all of these stones for that unit. The 9th anniversary provided some major power creep, and events got even harder, so while a lot of these units, last Worldwide Celebration were looking very, very good, a lot of these units did get their Easy A's during the last Worldwide Celebration, have since aged out. Just because of how harsh the power creep has been over the past couple of celebrations. So, yeah, for that reason, I would say there is not a single pack under the 3-stone section that is worth picking up. That is my personal opinion. I do not think that any of these units are good enough. I would say that maybe the AGL Zamasu would be the best of the bunch if you were really, entertaining the idea of going for one of them. He's also, obviously still going to be pretty good the first couple of turns because he's got the major damage reduction and stuff. But that does fall off, and I think that after that damage reduction does end up, falling off, that he is not going to be quite that usable anymore. So yeah, he's the only one that I would maybe even consider. Everybody else is just kind of meh. kind of like just not good enough. I mean, Android 13's decent, but I don't know about for 3 stones. Same thing with the tech transforming trunks. Okay. So moving down into the 2 packs, you'll notice there's only 2 of them. We go from 3 to 2, and then we're on to 1 down here at the bottom. So these 2 packs actually come with 3 characters. This first pack is an easy skip because it's just 3 banner units that are all trash. Wonderful. We can go ahead and skip out on that. It's kind of cool they're giving you some extra Kais too, so technically you're getting, 5 units for the 2 stones, but definitely not worth it. I wouldn't consider that. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This STR Super Saiyan Broly has not yet Super Easy Aid, and he is the oldest Dokkan Fest unit in the game. He was the very first Dokkan Fest to release, I'm pretty sure. If not, then one of, like, the first 3, if I'm remembering that incorrectly. Like, Physical Kid Buu was in there and stuff as well. So, yeah, he is definitely coming up on his Easy A. And now that we have, some strong suspicions about it being a Broly celebration for the worldwide celebration here, it's pretty safe to assume that this guy's going to get his Super Easy A during this celebration. I would assume that that's exactly why they've put him in this spot in the shop, because they're going to Super Easy A him. If that weren't indication enough, if we scroll down a little bit below, you can see the 4 units that have already Super Easy Aid are listed right below him. So, the very first big, flashing red light sign that I will give you is, I would save your stones until we know what the Super Easy A's are going to be in this celebration. Because if it is this Broly and he ends up being a god, like the other Super Easy A's that have happened, then this is going to be a must pickup, right? So yeah, that is something to consider. And then to bring out the rear here, once we've got all of the characters that have already Super Easy Aid here, these 4, then it's just going to take us down into all of the ancient Dokkan Fest units that are normally on the Redstone, available with the Redstone. So it's going to be, the Rainbow supports here. It's going to be all of the 120% supports, and then all of the Dokkan Fest prior to that as well. And then for some reason at the bottom here, even before those, we have a PyCon pack, and then this Majin Buu Gotenks pack. Like, those are definite skips as well, just banner units. But yeah, so all of these could be purchased. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and switch over to the wiki now and start taking a look at a lot of these older Dokkan Fest units to decide which ones you should maybe hunt for the most. It's going to be a little bit difficult just because it's hard to predict what a Super Easy A is going to do, because usually these units are so old that their passives are completely outdated and only have like 1 or 2 lines of text anyway. But we'll do our best here. So yeah, lots of units to look through. Let's go ahead and jump back over to the wiki. Oh, but before we do that, one other thing that I wanted to note is that every single one of these packs shows that it can be purchased 5 times, which is very interesting to me. If we come up here to the top, it shows that these can only be purchased 1 time with these 3 stones up here, because we only have 3 stones, right? So I'm thinking that means that they're only going to be able to be purchased once, because we wouldn't be able to get 2 stones, right? But if you check out these packs that are worth 2, they can be purchased 2 times, and then all of the ones that are worth 1 can be purchased 5 times. This makes me think that there are a couple more stones on the way. If they're going to give us 2 more stones, maybe in part 2, to equal out, the 5 potentially that you could buy here, and then that would make sense why you're able to buy the 2 stone packs twice, because we would be getting a couple more to where you could do twice. But then if we don't quite get 6, where you would have enough to do 2 purchases on one of these 3 stone packs, then I think that that's why they're only available 1 time. So I think that the amount of times you can purchase these packs is an indicator that we're getting more stones. So I guess we'll have to stay tuned and see if that happens, if we get a couple more stones in part 2. But yeah, so okay, enough rambling. We're already 10 minutes in and I haven't even started going over the units yet. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first unit that we've got here, obviously, is going to be the STR Super Saiyan Broly. So this guy is the most likely one to Super Easy A, like definitely, right? So Okay, obviously with the Super Easy A's, so really quick, because we're going to be looking at Super Easy A's for a lot of these characters, the main things I'm going to be paying attention to, obviously on a Super Easy A, the only thing that actually changes is the passive skill. So we'll take a glance at the super attack effect to see what effect they have now, because that's the same effect they're going to have post Easy A, and that's going to be very important to consider. Obviously, all of their leader skills are going to be completely fodder because they don't change, and then we're going to take a look at the passive. Obviously, the passive isn't going to indicate much for most of these characters, but we'll try. And then we're also going to take a look at the categories that they're going to be on, just to consider, like, what kind of teams that they might be useful for, you know, which might help you make some determining decisions about whether you want that unit or not. So, for Broly, we don't really have enough information in his passive to figure out what's going to happen with this, but it is nice that he does have a real super attack effect. He gets the attack raise for 3 turns, so that is definitely helpful for him to do some damage, and he's on some decent teams. Broly is one of the harder units to use, right, because he is on a lot of these really, really good extreme type teams, like Movie Bosses, Planetary Destruction, Exploding Rage, and Human Deeds, Target Goku even. But the problem is that he doesn't mesh well with a lot of the other extreme class units that run on those teams. So he is just a little bit wonky of a unit. But I would say with the Worldwide Celebration here, we're going to see a lot of buffs for other Broly units. So, you know, he definitely will see some good use with a Super Easy A. Okay, next, really quick, we're just going to take a quick glance at the 4 units that have already Super Easy Aid. I'm not going to read through their whole kits because there is so much here. But this guy's got amazing you know, dodge chance. He's got really good attack and defense. This guy is super, super solid to use, and obviously he's on a million teams. So this guy, if you don't have a copy of him, is definitely worth the stone. I would say that that's true for all 4 of the characters that have already Super Easy Aid. Same deal here. He is very, very good. Not quite as... He's on a million teams, but not quite on as many, like, relevant teams. But I would say he is on more teams that need the help than the Super Saiyan 3 Goku is, right? Because a lot of the teams Super Saiyan 3 Goku is on are... A lot of the teams he is on are, like, really good to where he might not even be in the top 6 units on it, whereas this is going to be more true for this guy. He is going to be definitely runnable on, like, most of these teams. Same deal with Kid Buu. Any extreme class buffs you can get are definitely good. A huge Majin Power buff and Artificial Life Forms buff. Those are 2 of the main ones that needed it the most. That Kid Buu was able to buff there. So yeah, definitely worth the stone. For sure. Same deal with Goku Black. Not quite on as many relevant categories, but still in enough of the useful places, including like super bosses, right? To be able to use this guy. So yeah, he is an absolute cannon as well. All 4 of those you could not go wrong with purchasing, you know, your redstone on them. Okay, so now we're here into the 120% leads. I believe that my list here is going to go backwards, so it's going to start at the 120% leads and then go backwards to the older Dokkan Fests. So it's going to be harder to interpret their passives as we get older, but they are also going to be more likely to Super Easy A sooner, right? Because looking at this guy, right, he could Super Easy A, like, in a celebration later this year. He could also not Super Easy A for the next, like, 3 or 4 years. We just don't know, right? We don't really know what their plan is for, like, the order of these things and stuff. So keep that in mind, that a lot of this is just speculation. But we know that eventually he'll get a Super Easy A, right? Okay, so obviously, you know, the 120 supports have really good super attack effects, raising attack and defense and whatnot. Having the multiplicative buff on super is good, and then this as well, the counter. So I'm assuming that the counter is just going to be insane. Like, this guy was a showstopper when he first released. He was a showstopper when he Easy A'd, and I do not doubt that he's going to be the exact same status when he Super Easy A's, so like god of the game. And I would assume that all of the exact same things are going to be true for this guy here. So if you are trying to decide amongst the 120 leaders, I would say that Goku and Vegeta are the like prime picks that you want to go for before any of the other ones. Super 17 could be a good option. He is probably going to be a damage reduction god when he Super Easy A's, because he already builds up to being that now. So yeah, this is going to be quite insane to see like how much damage reduction he is putting out post Super Easy A. So then we got the Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku. This is one I wouldn't say is, like, as needed. Being a Super Saiyan 3 Goku, he's relying on, like, over in a flash and stuff, and, like, limit-breaking form. Some of these less common, you know, like, Goku family or, like, Saiyan Links and stuff. His teams aren't quite as insane, just being a Super Saiyan 3 unit. And his kit has never really impressed me too much. Being based in two different things, right? Having the stun chance and... Oh, I guess, well, he has attacks effective against all, with the, okay, so he's got attacks effective here. For some reason, I was thinking it was crit built into his passive, but it's the attacks effective, and then the additional, you know, the additional, like, the nuking from the Rainbow Key Spheres. So yeah, because of that, this guy definitely can never go in slot 1. And with the media, you know, because they gave him the stun chance on there, this unit's old enough, this is back when they used to, like, weigh that heavily into a unit's kit, and they wouldn't make them as strong if they had the stun chance. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say, but I would assume that this guy is going to be built as a nuking style unit that's going to be better in, like, slot 2 or 3, so not quite as useful as some of the other units. Then we've got, oh god, Super Saiyan 3 Broly. I don't have high hopes for him either. One reason, his super attack effect sucks, right? Lowering defense is pointless. And then on top of that, I am very, very curious what they're going to do with this. He had a, you know, major problem when he first came out because he was reducing his own defense to 0. Having a nuking passive that allows him to raise attack at the same time as lowering defense is so stupid. Like his own defense. And they made it not as bad with his Easy A, but it's still the fact that it's there. I'm really worried about his Super Easy A. This is already going to make him bad enough. So having this on top of it is just like, ugh. Yeah. And then, you know, he's got the built-in additional, but does it really matter? Yeah, I don't know. I hope that they just scrap this kit entirely and just go with something new for him, rather than trying to, like, spice this up, because it's just really bad. So yeah, I would say he's a definite no. You definitely wouldn't want to go for him. Okay, Gogeta's probably going to be decent. He's another one. I mean, he gets the defense raise, which is nice, and the attack and defense lower. Okay, great. Obviously, because he's a Gogeta, he's got the attacks effective against all types. And then, you know, depending on the key spheres he selects, he gets a couple extra buffs here. So we could see some decent stuff. It's kind of hard to tell what's going to happen with him. He's on some good categories, but he's not really needed on a lot of the categories he's on. So I would say he's kind of meh. Int Kid Buu. So we get the HP recovery and the attack and defense raise. No defense sitting in here in his passive, which obviously that's going to change. And then just giving some key, and then he's a Majin Power, like, E support. Oh god, this guy has, like, nothing. This is so bad. So bad. Yeah, really hard to tell what's going to end up happening with this guy. He might be good, he might be bad. There's just not enough in his passive to really tell. Okay, so this guy has a really bad super attack effect, and guaranteed guards all attacks. That's going to be good. And having the medium chance to evade, and then the stacking evasion as he evades throughout the turn. I could see this guy being an absolute god behemoth with the guard and dodge combo that's going to get buffed like crazy. The one thing that counts against him is that he is on, like, absolutely no teams, right? So there's not going to be a ton of place in the game to use this guy, which I think is going to make them incentivized to make him really good, because you're never going to be able to use him anyway. That is just my theory. Okay, Physical Cooler. Again, really bad super attack effect. Man, so many of them just lower defense. I never realized. Okay, and then, yeah, stats, additionals, build stats. Pretty simple. That's a pretty cooler-based kit. I would assume that it's going to be the same type of thing, just with way buffed numbers and stuff. More additionals, more guaranteed additionals, that kind of thing. So yeah, he could be good, but because his super attack effect is this bad, I think that that's definitely going to hurt him in the long run. Yeah, so we'll see with this guy. All right, and then again, another one that's lowering defense. Boo, we hate to see that. But yeah, that's obviously only one of his super attacks, because he does have the multiple depending on how many key spheres you select. But then obviously he's only raising attack. He's not raising defense or anything, and that's because they gave him the evasion, so they didn't make him a defensive unit. They made him an offensive unit with the evasion, which is kind of annoying. So yeah, I don't know too much about this guy. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Okay, this guy greatly raises defense for 1 turn. So there we go. Now we're talking. That's a really, really good super attack effect to have. So I would assume that his Super Easy A is going to be really powerful because of that. He does gain defense with attacks received, so that's kind of bad. That's something that has kind of aged out of this meta. If they keep that portion of his kit and make it something that he has to rely on in order to be good, then that could be detrimental because, you know, in this meta, like, if you need to get hit in order to get the defense, you're going to die before you get the defense because you can't get hit with no defense in this day and age. It's just enemies hit way too hard. But he is also extreme class support, so that's not bad. Okay, and then this guy is honestly one that I am super excited to see what his Super Easy A brings. I used this guy after he Easy A'd. He was like my most used unit for a very long time. He gets the great raise on attack and defense. So obviously that is stellar. You know, it has the stats at the start of turn. Great chance of launching up to 2 additional attacks, each of which has a medium chance to become a super. Now, I assume that those are going to get buffed like crazy. So he's either going to get more super attacks, or he's going to get more attacks, higher chance for them to be super attacks, maybe even just guaranteed supers, things like that. So that's very good. Obviously, these stats are going to go up like crazy. And then he also gets the damage received by from normal attacks reduced by 40% and counters. So it'll be really, really nice to see what they do with this countering ability, to see if his counters will actually be able to do amazing damage, and I would assume tank a lot more than 40% damage reduction. So yeah, and then this guy's on a lot of good teams too. So yeah, this would be a very, very good choice. We know for a fact that he's going to have a really good Super EK. Okay, getting a little bit older here. We're going to start spending less and less time on each of these because there's not much to say about some of these really old units. So he's raising allies attack, which is nice, but other than that, it's just lowering defense. He's an orb changer and a nuker, so that could be decent. Okay, so this guy raises extreme class allies stats for the turn. He's debuffing super class enemies. Yeah, this is not... they're just gonna have to completely change this one up. It's really hard to tell. But I would say this one's probably not going to be great based on this. Yeah, I think the Trunks has a chance because of the nuking, but this guy's probably dead in the water. Okay, so this guy is similarly to the physical Vegito Blue, basically same deal, right? He's not getting he doesn't have as good of a super attack effect with the great attack and defense raise, so that's gonna hurt him for sure. But he's got, you know, insane amount of tanking, and he has this. I don't think that they're gonna take the Scouter away from him, so that's gonna be really valuable too. Hopefully they'll make it easier to use, so you don't have to be below 40%. Okay, so Buhan, he is like a healing unit, so I guess, like, it's kind of hard to tell what they're going to end up doing with this, because he already has really good healing, so if they just, like, make that better, then, like, meh, I guess. I don't really know. But obviously he's not going to be a slot 1 unit or anything, because it looks like he is going to be depending on, like, orb selection and stuff, probably, for a lot of extra, like, attack and defense and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. This is a really weird, like, old kind of thing that they used to do with kits that they don't really do anymore, so it'll be weird to see if they, like, try and add on to this, or if they completely revamp it. Then we've got STR Omega. This is going to be interesting for some events. Again, bad super attack effect, unfortunately. But this, right here. Having the all enemies attack minus 40%, this is still usable today in Super Battle Road. Minus 40% attack is really good. Obviously, we're not going to be able to use it on a lot of challenge content where they're immune to attack lowering. But in any places where you can attack lower, I would assume that post-EZA, this guy's going to be crazy for that kind of thing. So could be interesting. We'll have to see. So this physical Broly is just based in, like, he's an infinite stacker, and he just gets a bunch of additionals and stuff. So I would assume that for long-form content, this guy is going to be really, really solid post-Super EZA. Okay, so this guy greatly raises attack, sacrifices HP, and then just builds stats. Meh. I would assume that he's going to probably be a glass cannon post-Super EZA. Okay. Now, this is one of the Super EZAs that I am really looking forward to. We've already got 80% damage reduction sitting on him, which, with his outdated stats and stuff, and having like no defense in his passive at all, and not raising defense on super, he can't really be run anymore. The 80% damage reduction isn't quite enough on its own, but I would assume that this is going to bring him back into the meta for a very long time. Any units that have this insane amount of damage reduction, if they are thrown into a meta where they can look like really, really solid for a bit, then that's going to age well. That's going to last for a very long time, because it takes a lot of power creep to make damage reduction, you know, useless, right? This guy was tanking everything in the game for like 6+ years before he finally started to fall off. And even now, I would say he is better than some other units that we choose to run as like random supports. He could probably still tank better than them. So, yeah, this is definitely one of the golden icons that I am looking at on this list here. Okay, so then we've got the AGL Perfect Cell, Infinite Stacker, very nice. And then obviously at the 11 key part, he has the AoE. One of the ancient strats for World Tournament was using this guy and trying to get that 11 key to proc. Okay, and then stats at the start, more stats with key spheres, and then enemy debuffs when facing multiple. Yeah, I don't know. This guy's kit is kind of focused around his AoE. Kinda. Other than that, he's just like straight up stats and like stacking. So I don't know. Maybe it'll be the same deal for like the physical Broly. He'll be decent for like long form content. We'll have to see. Okay, STR Gogeta. So now they could do something really cute with this guy. Obviously, it's no news to anybody that when this guy first released, you know, way back in the day, like literally 2016, he was the god of the game. If you didn't have him, you weren't passing content. If he wasn't your friend lead, you got unfriended. Like, this guy was absolutely amazing. I wasn't even playing the game for another year after he came out, and that's how good he was, is that even after he came out, like, I still knew that he was good enough because he was being talked about, right? Even a year after his release. And I started when, like, the 120 leaders were coming out, and this was still a really good unit to use on your team. So yeah, this guy was, like, absolutely insane. And I think it would be a really, really funny meme if, when he Super Easy A's, they just blow him out of the water and make him literally the best unit in the game. Hands down, no question. I think that would be so funny if they did it. Just to kind of allude to the way things used to be in the past, right? But obviously there's not nearly enough here in his passive for us to tell that kind of thing. Also, only having this as a super attack effect with the lowering attack and defense does not indicate that that's going to happen, that he will be like insane god of the game, unless they give him like guaranteed dodging and some crazy things like that, like 90% damage reduction and whatever. So yeah, we'll see what they end up doing with this guy. I don't have strong like I'm not willing to put money on it or bet that it's going to be amazing, but I have like hope that it's going to be amazing. Okay, and then last and certainly not least, we have Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta here. So, high chance of stunning on his super attack effect. That's cool. That's forever going to be useful in like Super Battle Road. 80% damage reduction for 10 turn. That's nuts. That is absolutely nuts. And then obviously he's only getting attacked when the enemy's stunned already. This is another unit, much like the Tech Golden Frieza, that spent years and years just tanking everything in the game. So I am assuming that this guy is, again, going to be an absolute god once he gets his Super Easy A. So, that is the finale of the units that we've got there. I am going to do something really quick. Really quick. I should have been doing this as we were going. But I am going to remove all of the units that I think are going to be meh, or just not, like, quite as insane as, you know, some of the other units I think are going to end up being, post Super Easy A. So let me go ahead and finish getting rid of a couple here. Okay, alright. Okay, so this is my final list. Out of everything that we've gone through, these are my top recommended picks for, you know, for what you should pick up with your redstones. So this Broly here, I'm saying this simply because I think it's really, really highly likely that he Super EZAs in this celebration. So you're going to get immediate gratification out of him. Obviously, you shouldn't purchase any of these units until later into the celebration. Wait until we know what the Super EZAs are going to be, because that could obviously help sway some decision making. But I think that this guy remains on the list regardless, because he's very, very likely to get that Super EZA. And even if he doesn't get it in this celebration, he is one of the oldest Dokkan Fest units in the game, and definitely the oldest Dokkan Fest unit that does not yet have a Super EZA, so he could not be far off. And then obviously the 4 that already have their Super EZAs, we know that they're amazing. So yeah, these 4 definitely units to go for if you don't have copies of them already. And then down to when we're talking about the 120% leads, the Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta are definitely going to be quite amazing. The Janemba with his guard and dodging is going to be amazing. The both Vegetos, in fact, with their damage reduction and countering and stuff and additionals, going to be very, very good there. The Omega Shenron, I'm thinking, with the insane, like, attack lowering, is going to be at least be useful for, like, Super Battle Road stages and stuff. This guy probably won't be amazing for, like, endgame content that nullifies, like, attack reduction ability. Things like that. So that's one caveat to keep in mind. In fact, I probably shouldn't keep him on the list. It's just a strat that I like to use because it's very, very unique to go for, like, extreme attack lowering, but he probably won't be as good as, like, all of these other units. This Frieza, guaranteed. Like, they don't have to do much at all. They just, if they gave him, like 150% defense at the start of turn, and then give him, like, another, like, 50% on super attack, there you go. Now he's going to be tanking everything again in the entire game for the next 4 years. Like, they really don't have to do much to him to make him just absolutely amazing. Same deal with this guy. Just give him some start of turn stats, give him a little bit more on super. Boom, good to go. He's a god. He's invincible. So there you go. Hopefully that helps narrow down your guys' decision making. There's a lot of different units to choose from. If you guys have any additional questions about any of the units that I didn't go over, or something that you wanted me to clarify additionally about one of the units that I did go over, feel free to ask me in the comments below. I'll be happy to get back to you guys on that one. I think that is all the information that I have for you guys as far as the Super EZAs go. Oh, I guess the last thing that I could do is I could... Here, I'll switch back to in-game really quick, and I will quickly let you know, for those of you that are curious, what units I am planning on picking up with my stones. So, like I said earlier, I think it's possible that we get a couple more in the celebration. It's definitely possible. But for right now, I'm thinking with the 3... obviously, I have copies of all of these units already. I am working on getting SSR copies done for these units. So there are quite a few of the 120% leads in these older Dokkan Fests that I don't have SSR copies of yet. So that's what I'm going to be doing with my stones. I've already got all of these units rainbowed. At least their top copies are fully rainbowed for literally every single one of these. So yeah, any of the units that I don't have their SSR for, I will be hunting down some of those. So yeah, I'm probably not going to get to the 120% leads. I was, in previous Redstone purchases, I had been going for some of the, like, really much older Dokkan Fests. Like, I'm pretty sure I've got this guy taken care of at this point. I have this guy done. Let's see. I think I need Cell. No, I don't need Cell. I'm pretty sure I don't need Frieza either. Yeah, don't need Frieza. I don't think I need this guy. Yeah, wow. Okay, so we have gotten pretty close. I know I have him now. We're good with him. So where are we at? Okay, it looks like Omega Shenron would be the first one. I just pulled him the other day, actually, so I don't end up needing him. We've got a copy of him. I believe we have a copy of him. We do. Trunks, we have a copy of him. Sweet. Oh, wow, so we are onto the 120 leads. Okay, that's exciting. So then I am going to end up picking up a copy of Shenron, and then just various copies of... the 120 leads that I don't, because I think there's like 1 or 2 that I have their SSRs, but the rest of them I don't yet have their SSR copies. So yeah, we'll start working on those. Ooh, that's exciting. We finally got through this pool of older Dokkan Fest. We got all of them, you know, selected. That's very nice. You love to see that. Well, that's great. Yeah, so I'm definitely not, that is the plan, but I'm not going to pick up any of these units until after we get our Memorial Stones. Because here's another thing that I neglected to mention yet. When the Worldwide Celebration actually starts, we're going to get the Memorial Dragon Stones. So you'll get 1 of the Memorial Stones for every 50 Dragon Stones you spent for the last year since the previous Worldwide Celebration. And then you will be able to turn those stones into tickets that are going to allow you to summon on the banners down here. You're going to be able to do 50 ticket multis on this banner here. And all of the Dokkan Fest units up to the 2023 Golden Week celebration are going to be here, which includes every single Dokkan Fest unit that we just talked about. So it is possible for you to pull some of those units for free before having to spend a red stone on them if you don't have them already. So I would highly suggest that you wait until after you get your Memorial Stones, do all of your summons, collect all of the Dokkan Fest characters that you're going to for the celebration, and then jump in and use your red stones. That is probably the best way to go about things. All right, well, like I said, let me know if you guys have any additional questions in the comments below. I think that is going to do it for this one, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.